Hey, and welcome to the Winning Daily Show for April 26th. We got a nice day of picks today. Not a huge slate of action going on, but we do have some ATP Tour action in Portugal and Germany. A little NBA action. The remaining action in the domestic leagues on Monday today, and then a whole lot of Major League Baseball to get into. So let's start out in the ATP Tour. We got two tournaments going on, two major tournaments going on. The Estoril in Portugal and the ATP Munich one. That has more of the higher in players in it. But let's start out in Portugal, and we got one pick for today. We're going to go with the Marian Cilic versus Carlos Alcaraz, getting plus 3.5 here, minus the 140. Really like Claridge here. Alcaraz just got out of the qualifying tournament for this. He's 17 years old. He's a favorite here. I don't quite understand why he's such a big favorite here. Yes, Claridge does not play well on clay, but he's a much more experienced player in this one. So I think Claridge should be able to cover this line and really possibly beat this young kid. He's 17 years old. He's ranked 119th on the tour. He just got through qualifying. He had two qualifying wins in this tournament. One versus our man Talian Greek Spore, who's not a very good clay court player, and then he won versus Carlos Tabanir. So this is his first big one in the matchup, round of 32. So he's outside of qualifying. Can he beat a true veteran like Marian Claridge? I don't know. Claridge last was in the Monte Carlo and lost in the round of 64 to David Goffin. Really not that bad a loss. Goffin's a pretty solid clay court player, and like I said, Claridge is not. He lost in the first round of the French Open to Dominic Thiem. He did make it to the round of 16 in the Rome Masters. With a win over Goffin 6-2, 6-2, and our man Alexander Bublik. Keep that in mind. We might hit that one before losing to Casper Ruud. But he is mostly a hard court specialist here, but has never been that great on clay. But I do think he's experienced enough to handle this and should be able to cover that plus 3.5 pretty easy. Also on the day in Portugal tomorrow morning, we're going to go with Alexander Bublik minus the 115 versus Pedro Martinez. Really like Bublik here. Now, he has really struggled on clay court. He had a really good run on the indoor hards earlier out of Eastern Europe here, but he has not played well in this clay court season. He's going against Pedro Martinez Perato, who is the 100th ranked player. I just think Bublik is the better player here. Pedro is not all that great on clay. Bublik lost in the first round of the Monte Carlo Masters, made it to the round of 32 in Barcelona before losing to Minor. He did beat Fokina in the first round, so there's a little something there. He probably can get to the second round of this tournament as well. He did have a Bublik have a good run in the Hamburg in 2020. He did make it to the second round of the French Open before losing to Lorenzo Songo. So he does have a handful of times he makes runs on the clay. I don't know if this is one of them, but I do think he can get outside the first round versus Pedro Martinez Perato. Perato went through qualifying, won his first two. He was also in the Monte Carlo Masters. He lost in the round of 64 after getting through qualifying, but he lost in the finals of the qualifying, and then he got in anyway, and was losing to Tommy Paul 4-1 and then retired. So I don't even know really what sort of shape he'll be in here. And I think he'll lose to Alexander Bublik. I think you're pretty safe. He does have some good runs in the Challengers. He had a great run in the French Open in 2020, also in the Rome Masters. I think a lot of that is where his even money line. But so far, his 2021 season has not been all that impressive. Lost in the first round of the Miami Masters, lost in the first round of the Adelaide International, did make it to the round of 32 in the Australian Open, lost in the first round of the All-Usia tournament that was on clay, and we mentioned in the Monte Carlo Masters, made it through qualifying, even though he did lose in the finals, and then lost in the first round to Tommy Paul before retiring. So I think this is a good one for Bublik to take and move on. Minus 115 price, pretty good here. Next, we're going to take Juan Incognito Loderio versus Richard Gasquet in the plus 3.5 here. Really like this. Gasquet has really struggled on this clay court season here. I don't think he's long for this tournament either. Juan has won twice versus Richard Gasquet, both on clay. So you have that there, one including the French Open in 2019. His only loss to Gasquet is on an indoor hard surface, so I don't look for that to factor in too much. The two clay tournaments they've played, Juan Encarnacio has really beaten him twice. Juan's rank is 97, Gasquet's is 52, but this is not a surface Gasquet has really been all that successful on. Juan did make it, lost in the first round, the round of 32 in Monte Carlo. He's really has not won a whole lot of clay court here. That's why I'm not taking him to win. I'm taking that handicap. Both these really have not been all that great on the 2021 season. In 2021, Gasquet has so far in Melbourne lost in the first round, in Doha lost in the second round, in Dubai, lost in the second round. Last week in Barcelona, lost to Jordan Thompson. We took Jordan Thompson in that one, lost in the first round. So even if Gasquet wins, which I think he will, it'll be a long, drawn-out match. So I think the spread here at plus 3.5 is a pretty good take. Okay, let's move on to Munich. We're going to go with Pablo Cuevas plus the 1.5 minus 120 versus Tennis Sandgren. Really like Pablo here. I think Pablo really is the better player in this matchup. They have not had a head-to-head matchup, but on clay, I think Pablo is the better player than Tennis. He made it to the second round of the Australian Open before he lost to Minar. On clay in the Hamburg European, he made it all the way to the round of 16 before losing to Stefanos Tsitsipas. He just has solid wins on the Challengers. In Buenos Aires, he made it to the quarterfinals before losing to Diego Schwartzman. So he's been pretty solid on clay. I wouldn't call him a clay court specialist, but he's not afraid of the surface nonetheless. And Tennis Sandgren, I just don't like him on this surface at all. In Barcelona, lost in the first round, 6-2, 6-3 after winning that first set, 2-6. In the French Open, he lost in the second round, 6-2, 6-2, 6-3. In Rome, he lost in the round of 64, the first round. He's just not really a great clay court player. And with these two, I think about on the same talent level here. I just like Pablo Cuevas a little bit better here. So I think there's nice value in Pablo plus the 1.5 minus 120. And lastly, we're going to get Taro Daniel plus 35 versus Yannick Hoffmanheim. I really don't like any of the Germans in this. A couple of them matched up against each other in Munich. None of them have really been playing all that great on clay. Now, Zerbe's getting a bye in the first round here. We'll see who Zerbe match up, and we might ride Zerbe really, really hard in this tournament as his opponents come up. Teo is coming off a big time run here just off the last tournament. So we're going to ride that streak here. Also, Teo Daniel has beaten Yannick twice. Once on clay, was up 3-0 when Yannick retired. And then in a challenger last year, he beat him 6-2, 6-2. So you have that on your side. But Tero's coming off a really, really big time run in Serbia in that tournament. He made it all the way to the semifinals in that one. In the Belgrade Challenger, he made it to the quarterfinals. So he seems to be finding his legs here on clay. And I just think it's really good value to ride the hot player here in Teo Daniel versus Yannick Hoffman, who has not been all that great on clay. The Monte Carlo Masters, we mentioned it, he lost in qualifying. To Papinian in Sandringham. He lost in the quarterfinals in that one. He just has not played well in the clay court season so far. I look for him to really, really sort of struggle here versus Teo Daniel, who's playing really, really hot tennis on the clay right now. So I really do like that plus 3.5 handicap. All right, that's all we have for the tennis today, and tomorrow morning we'll have more as these tournaments unfold. We'll go to the NBA 2 picks tonight. We're going to be dangerous and ride the Los Angeles Clippers -2 versus the New Orleans Pelicans. No clue what sort of Clipper team's going to go out there, but I think that Pelicans loss to the Spurs probably broke them. This is more a bet against the Pelicans and them totally collapsing here. I think their chances to get into that playoff game went away with that loss to the Spurs. So really like this line of Clippers -2 versus the Pelicans. Next up, we're going to take the Jazz -9.5 in the matchup versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Jazz coming off a loss to the Timberwolves when they could have clinched a playoff spot. They could clinch it tonight. I look for him to be much more focused and ready to go and really put it on the Timberwolves here at -9.5. Big spread, but I look for the Jazz to cover pretty easy here. On our way to soccer, we got one EPL game we're going to get to. We're going to take Kelechi Iheanacho, 2+ goals at +500 here today. Iheanacho's been on fire. If you watched his game versus West Ham during the week, he could have had numerous goals. He could have easily had a hat trick in that one. He did end up getting one, but I think it's a really solid bet to see if he can get two here. He just seems to be on a really hot goal scoring run. He's finding nice little spaces to get those shots off. I look for that to continue versus a Crystal Palace team who's already out of the regulation fight. Their season is pretty much over, and they've sort of packed it in. If you've watched a lot of their games played the last handful of months. So Iheanacho 2+ goals. We're also going to go with Iheanacho a goal and Leicester City to win at +140. So we just need that Iheanacho goal. If we can get 2 Iheanacho goals and a Leicester City win, really nice combo package there at +500 and +140. I wanted to find a way to take Leicester on the handicap, but just didn't like any of them. Leicester haven't played a couple games really packed together recently to get into that FA Cup final, then the West Ham game midweek, and now this game on Monday. Might just try to win this 1-0 or something. They really controlled that game versus West Ham. So I look for them to control this game versus Crystal Palace, and I just didn't like any of the goal lines over a goal at all. So, and the one on the half was just way too weighted too heavy, so we're going to go with Iheanacho goal, Leicester City win, +140. We're going to go to Syria, and we're going to take a bit of a reach here. I can't seem to quit AC Milan at +210 on the three-way. I just think they fight through and find a way to win this game versus Laszlo. Laszlo's been on a really good run, so this is a really hard call, but I think AC Milan can do it. Laszlo seems to fail every time they step up in competition. I don't know if this necessarily counts as AC Milan's as stepping up in competition, but I just like this number on the three-way with AC Milan getting plus 210. They just got passed by at Atlanta, out of second place, but they can reclaim that spot with a win here versus Laszlo. Laszlo really, really does need this win to keep any Champions League hopes alive. They do have a game in hand, but if they don't win this one, I think they're pretty much out of the Champions League spot hunts here. So AC Milan plus 210 versus Laszlo here. We're going to go with. All right, couple baseball games, whole lot of pitchers I like today. So we got a whole lot of run lines. We think there's going to be a handful of blowouts today. First off, we're going to take the New York Yankees Baltimore Orioles game. We're going to take the New York Yankees over 5 at minus 114. The Yankee homers started to come a little bit in that Cleveland series, and there's nothing better lined up for that than Matt Harvey on the hill here. So I really look for the Yankees to get over that 5-run spot today, and at minus 114, I'm hammering all over that New York Yankees over 5 at minus 114. On the other hand, the Cubs and Braves. If you just watched the Braves yesterday, 1 hit in 14 innings, and the Cubs have been struggling for runs all season long. Cubs, Braves under 8.5. I can't believe it is 8.5. Davies and Morton on the hill. Theoretically, Morton's supposed to be the Braves' ace right now. He has not looked it, but the way the Braves and Cubs are hitting, I don't know how you make a number at 8.5. The Braves can't even get a hit, let alone 8.5 runs. So Cubs, Braves under 8.5. Really like that one as well. All right, now we're going to hit up some run lines. We're going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers minus the 1.5 plus 130 with Burns on the hill versus the Miami Marlins. This should be an easy game for Burns to cruise with the Miami Marlins hitters. Very mediocre in the way Burns is thrown. He might be right now outside of DeGrom, the second best pitcher in baseball with the way he's firing the ball. So Brewers minus 1.5 plus 130. Really like the value there. Ohtani's on the hill. Ohtani's been really good and really wild. I think he reins in some of that wildness here. Cruises versus the Texas Rangers and the Angels, who have been on a bad losing streak here. Get this run line. Los Angeles Angels minus 1.5 plus 100 with Ohtani on the hill versus the Texas Rangers. Look for the Angels to finally break out, get some runs. Ohtani gets some control and is able to go maybe into the 5th, 6th inning here and really dominate this game. And lastly, we're going with the Los Angeles Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 110 with Urias on the hill. I love Urias. He might be the Dodgers' best pitcher. If they ever let him go more than 4 innings, it would be nice. If we could get a 6-inning game out of Urias, I'd really like that. Reds been playing okay baseball, sort of like everybody in the Central, but coming to Los Angeles, I look for the Reds to struggle versus Urias and the Dodgers to put it on them pretty good here after a tough series versus the Padres. So Dodgers minus 1.5 plus 110. That's our picks for the day. Be sure to follow us on greenlightnetwork.org, Greenlight Network on Facebook and YouTube. Please subscribe to our Greenlight Network on YouTube. And you can find me, GLNChamp5, on Twitter and Instagram. That's our show, and we're out.